Industrial farming is creating lethal superbugs. You've been born into a prison that will be your home for the rest of your life. You live with hundreds of other humans in a confined space with barely enough room to lie down. Every day, you're fed a cocktail of drugs to prevent disease in your unsanitary living conditions. Your nails and teeth have been plucked out. No anesthesia was given because your living conditions encourage violent behavior. Without nails and teeth, you're less likely to injure your prison mates. You have no interaction with the world outside, and the only trip you make will be your last. Sounds brutal, and frankly also quite revolting, but this isn't fiction. This is life for animals born on what is known as industrial or factory farms. Factory farms are designed to maximize profits using minimal resources, and brutality is one of their defining features. Chickens raised for eggs are kept in battery cages with their beaks cut off, as being trapped in overcrowded conditions causes them to begin pecking other chickens, causing injury, cannibalism, and death. Female pigs, used for breeding, live in pathetically small gestation crates that disallow them the right to even turn on their side for as long as they live. Mother cows are left crying for days as their infants are snatched from them, while male animals are castrated without anesthesia. Cojones aren't the only things removed. Many animals also lose their tails, of course without anesthesia, and this leaves them in pain for the rest of their life. In pigs, this is done to keep them from biting each other's tails in their stressful living conditions, while in cows, it purportedly makes milking easier. The brutality doesn't end there. Animals are also genetically manipulated, often to the point of deformation. Broiler chickens are bred to yield more breast meat, a consumer favorite. The added body weight, however, causes debilitating medical conditions for the chickens as they age. Genetic modification also reduces genetic diversity on factory farms, allowing viruses and infections to spread much faster and become more virulent than they otherwise would have. This creates disease risks for the animals and for those who consume them. So how does factory farming lead to antibiotic resistance? It's not difficult to see how the confined, unsanitary conditions in industrial farms are a hotbed for disease, and why drugs, including antibiotics, might be needed to mitigate disease risk and maintain normal, whatever that might mean, life on these farms. Industrial farms usually operate in regions with less strict regulations, allowing farmers to use drugs without proper oversight or control. The farms are overcrowded, and unsanitary and bacterial and viral infections and parasitic infestations spread rapidly. The close proximity of the animals and lack of proper veterinary care and biosecurity measures make it difficult to control disease outbreaks, and farmers often routinely use large amounts of antibiotics to try and prevent or control the spread of disease. Lack of proper nutrition for the animals also weakens their immune system and makes them more susceptible to disease. As large groups of animals are given low doses of drugs over long periods of time, evolution dictates that antibiotic-resistant bacteria will eventually develop as they are exposed to the drugs for extended periods, allowing them to adapt. Factory farms, however, don't only use antibiotics to mitigate disease risk. They are also added to animal feed to promote growth, even when the animals are not sick. This practice began in the 50s with the discovery that the drugs could help increase weight gain and improve feed efficiency in animals. It was quickly adopted en masse as it was a relatively inexpensive way to increase profits for farmers as the animals grew faster and required less food. The mechanism by which antibiotics promote growth is not fully understood, but it is thought to involve changes to the gut microbiome. Antibiotics can disrupt the balance of bacteria in the gut, leading to an increase in the growth of some at the expense of others. These bacteria then produce compounds that promote growth and improve feed efficiency. Large numbers of animals then produce large amounts of waste, which tends to contain antibiotic-resistant bacteria. If this waste is not properly treated or disposed of, it can contaminate the surrounding environment and potentially spread the resistant bacteria to other animals, including humans. Some bacteria can also spread through the air. In industrial farms, the lack of proper ventilation can cause resistant bacteria to be present in the air, leading to inhalation and the subsequent spread of disease. Additionally, drug-resistant bacteria can also make their way from animals to humans in many other ways, including the consumption of contaminated meat, poultry and dairy products, and direct contact with people who work with animals, such as farmers, vets, and slaughterhouse workers. Lastly, drug-resistant bacteria can also spread from person to person as someone who is infected comes into contact with others or through contaminated surfaces. Industrial farms, however, also perpetuate other ills. Animal farming is resource intensive. Among other things, water, medicines, shelter, and fossil fuel-based climate controls are needed. To feed the animals, a lot of lands must be repurposed to grow crops like corn and soy that can be used as animal feed. This activity is one of the prime drivers of deforestation in areas such as the Amazon. These farms also lead to a lot of pollution. They contaminate the air, land, and water in surrounding areas. Chicken manure, for instance, contains ammonia, which has been linked to lung disease, while hogs produce 2.3 to 13.1 pounds of manure per day depending on the size of the hog. Annually, all the hog farms in the US combined produce billions of gallons of manure. North Carolina alone has 9.7 million pigs that produce 10 billion gallons of manure every single year, as it is usually not treated before disposal and leads to surface and groundwater contamination. Feces can also contaminate meat intended for human consumption, leading to the growth of bacteria such as Salmonella and E. coli, both of which cause GI distress when consumed and are extremely common in chicken meat. Factory farms also perpetuate environmental racism. They typically set up shop in lower-income communities, so the pollution that they generate disproportionately affects lower-income minority groups that live near or around factories. These groups are less likely to put up a fight against the farm's practices than wealthier white individuals. Finally, of course, antibiotic resistance remains the largest threat to human health from these farms. Unlike most of the other problems discussed, antibiotic resistance is not a local problem, as virulent microbial strains are quick to spread from one area to the next, as evidenced by the spread of coronavirus from Wuhan, China to pretty much every place on Earth. Microbes are invisible and massively outnumber humans, making their spread extremely difficult to track and control. Drug-resistant infections already kill 700,000 people annually, and the UN estimates that this number will likely rise to 10 million by 2050 if we fail to make a radical change now. So what can be done to address the issue? To address the overuse of antibiotics in industrial farming, it is important to implement stricter regulations and oversight of the use of antibiotics in agriculture. This includes banning the use of antibiotics as growth promoters and requiring farmers to use them only when necessary to treat or prevent disease. Better biosecurity measures should also be implemented to reduce the spread of disease among animals and improve waste disposal, so antibiotic-resistant bacteria are less likely to spread to the environment. Lastly, you as a consumer can also play a role by choosing to buy meat, poultry, and dairy only from farms that are ethical in their practices and use drugs responsibly. By supporting these farms, we can help create demand for ethically and sustainably obtained meat and meat products, because where demand goes, supply will follow automatically. If you liked this video, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up and do subscribe to our channel in order to be notified whenever we post subsequent videos. You can also support us by buying me a coffee. I'll put the link in the description box below. Until next time, bye bye.